January was a bit of a doozy. Today's also a bit of a doozy. Doozy. Forgot my glasses. I forgot my book. It's on my shelf.
Oh.
I forgot my notes that I took on the book. We're gonna get it done. Number four.
The 1,000 Nights and a Night.
It's
Arabian Nights. I thought this one is the strangest so far. I mean, it was strange, but it didn't have as much magic or
Right.
stories
Yeah.
nestled within one another. It gets repetitive, but then again, there's enough of a difference to make it another book.
This one was losing me because it didn't have the magic of the first one, and it wasn't as like funny. And
There were some funny parts though that had me laughing out loud.
But I mean, there's all the stories with the weird happy endings that just happened, like all this terrible stuff. But then they gave them money and everything was good. A little footnote that even said like Westerners hate like these kind of happy, and it was like it just didn't do it for me. Just when I was thinking I'm starting to understand why these books are abridged.
Yes.
It gets to those last like 4 stories, like those last 4 short tales were.
Yes, those were very interesting for many reasons.
It made 3 and 4 worth getting to those. So these stories are weird. Like I don't really remember. There's so much, I guess, and there's not a lot of character development. It's just names. And is it just me, or is it the same people keep showing up over and over?
Well, that's what had me confused because I didn't know if they were referring to the same characters or if they were just different people with the same names.
I think it's like, the same people somehow.
Like, Zubaydah, she kept coming up, but then I remembered that she had died.
Jafar?
Yes.
The Wazir keeps popping up everywhere. And there's a certain, I guess the caliphs, though, are real people maybe, and that's why they're trying to put these stories into a timeline. Because he hints at it, but like all the information he says in the footnotes, half of it, I have no idea what he's talking about. So it gets a little jumbled that way. It gets a little messy. But
yeah, there are many characters, just many events that end suddenly. They just decided that they had told enough of the story and that they were just going to end it, whether it made sense or not.
I don't know. It was losing me. Until the lady that lost her hands because she gave to the poor.
Yes.
But then she dropped her baby into the water because she couldn't hold him.
That's right.
And then the people came to save her, or to save the baby. The two men.
Yes.
They were the bread that she gave to the they were the bread that she gave to the poor dude. That's why she lost her hands. I was like, okay. The one that involved the bear. And
so can we even mention that word?
I mean, I learned the word and there was going on with the bear and the ape.
Yes.
Yeah.
I found those stories very funny.
Yeah, this might say more about me and my taste, but those were so fantastic.
I actually thought of you and how you would respond when I read that part.
It was like so out there. I don't know, like I'm now kind of looking forward to see what's going to happen. Because each book, what's neat so far is at least, is even if they're not great, like 3 and most of this one, it's neat how different they are, but how they're still like one story. It's really, it's unique. It's a unique experience so far.
I got such a kick out of, I don't know which woman they were referring to, but it was either with the bear or the baboon. But the man who caught her with one or the other actually wanted to marry her. It
was both of them. One woman with the bear was like, no, kill me. And the other one, he did marry her, but then he could not keep up with her like the ape could.
Oh, that's right.
And that's where it ended. And there was another footnote about how like they thought certain ailments were because of worms. So like toothaches were because there was a worm embedded in the gums. So they thought nymphomania was because of worms. So that's why they took the vinegar and certain deeds to try to kill all the worms, which I thought was wonderful.
Oh, I am just surprised at how sexual some
Yeah.
parts got.
Back at before the first book, kind of picking this one because he blatantly said like I'm not cutting anything. And so far, there's been some moments and there's some risque parts, but nothing like this. It'd be interesting to see where between the magic or the realism or the bad fables or the happy story, like where this thing is going to go for the next 5 books.
Yeah.
So, but we're almost halfway there.
What about the story of the man who came upon the city or the palace that was supposedly built to
Supposed to be like the big jeweled
yes,
in gold and everything, and then no one else could find it, so they
Yes.
tried to rebuild it.
and it took them like 300 years or so, but yet the same king was still ruling when
Things exaggerated.
Yeah.
But he made the point when he was talking about the guy with the, what was it, like 4,000 concubines. He was like, everything in Knights is a bit elevated, but there was that one guy who had 3,333 concubines. It's like, what was going on back then?
Yeah. I'm going to have to change out the seat. It is squeaking, and I can't. That's better.
Okay, so I don't really remember the first story very well, but I did think it was interesting that the names of the characters, basically Aladdin, Jasmine, Abu, Jafar, the Sultan, it was like really weird how he had all these names that we're so familiar with, but the story was completely not Aladdin. That there was like no genie, no magic. It was like him trying to get to his wife or something, and then there was, I can't remember.
Hard time remembering events and just parts of the different stories. You really have to take notes and write everything down.
Yeah.
And write everything down in order to keep track of everything and everyone.
This is a weird experience. I don't know if it's the style or the subject or.
I also think it's because there's not much character development,
Right.
so there's really nothing that you can latch your memory onto because they just move so swiftly from character to character and just story to story.
But when it sticks out, like I remember it, like a couple books ago with the guy in the fountain. Like that was hilarious. I remember that. Or even like the multicolored fish in the first book. Like it was something strange about it. So I guess that's what made it stand out.
I actually liked this book.
You like this one?
And as you said, the last few stories really took it over the top.
I was about to give up.
Really?
I mean, I wasn't going to.
Mm-hmm.
We're this far in. We ain't stopping now. But yeah, I was.
I just laughed so hard. It's, I don't know.
Yeah, those. Yeah, it made up for it.
Are you still, enjoying it overall? I am.
Yes and no. I think once it's going to be interesting finishing and then looking back. I think, whereas like sometimes getting like into it, it's some of those were like they're honestly so boring.
Maybe I'm used to reading boring books. I don't know, but I liked it.
Yeah, I'm ready to keep going.
We're practically halfway through. Making headway in the first book.
1,000 more to go.
Yeah. David and Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell. I really enjoyed this one. It was satisfying to read. He debunks a lot of not myths, but just thoughts that people have about certain outcomes. And I just thought that he did a really good job of different people in.
Right. That's what I like about his style is that he doesn't try to like say a point and then like force it upon you. He just gives examples of like real people doing things, and then he lets you draw your own conclusions about it.
I recommend it.
I'll catch up.
I found The Sadness of Beautiful Things. This is an author I've never read before, but I just thought this was just beautiful. So it's a collection of short stories,
Okay.
and I have to admit, I did initially choose it for the title. People choose books based on covers. I just choose them by titles. His writing is quite beautiful. So it's a collection of short stories based on stories that he heard from strangers over the years.
Oh, that's neat.
The stories are at times poignant, philosophical, and there's even a bit of science fiction in here. But I just don't know how he does it. But I just
Like certain stories have some science fiction elements, or like
yes,
overall, like
I don't know, just elements.
oh, that's neat.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
I said that word again.
Yours is neat, mine is that's right.
I wonder what they think of when they watch us do this.
Yeah, so just neat. Had to read it after I saw the title. Yeah, it's beautiful. So I also read Ask Again, Yes by Mary Beth Keane. Was also very, very good. So she centers it around mental illness and two families, their dynamics, the relationships, and just how mental illness threatens to unravel.
Fiction or nonfiction?
It's fiction.
Oh, really? You did a lot of fiction.
Yes, I know.
Wow.
This is quite unusual for me. I mean, I hardly ever read it.
So, would recommend or wouldn't recommend?
I would give it 4.5 stars.
What about it knocked it down that half point?
Well, I don't know. I didn't care for the ending so much.
Okay.
I mean, just she just wrapped everything up so neatly, and I mean, I guess I just wanted something a little more dramatic.
Everyone got money and lived happily.
Yes, basically. I guess I like books that are closer to depicting just how reality really is.
Right. Well, you mean you do like nonfiction?
Yes.
So it makes sense.
What do you have?
Percy Jackson's still going. Yeah. I've never read a DC comic book, so I read two. I read Suicide Squad and Batgirl, and their movies are horrible, but they can write a comic book. They need to fix their movies because their books are really good. But then I also read a Marvel because I've never read a Deadpool comic either, so I read Deadpool Kills Deadpool, and I actually really enjoyed it. Deadpool the Duck, which is Howard the Duck, but Deadpool style. So that automatically made it a 5 out of 5 for me. That one page. Can't do Manga Mondays without some manga. So, number 2 of Attack on Titan, which I thought the first one had a surprise. So does this one. These manga books are kind of like surprising me. They're actually quite interesting.
Really?
Yeah. And then also The Promised Neverland, which looks like a happy little story, and it is basically anything but. Okay. So, like, one time, a while back, I was like, well, I have to see what all the fuss is about Dogman. They're actually really funny, and as the series keeps going, like, they keep getting, like, sweeter and more poignant, but, like, they're still, like, have that, like, childhood fun about them. Would recommend Dogman.
Good in a funny way,
Both.
or?
Like, they're sweet,
Okay.
they're funny. Even their poop jokes are fantastic. Like, it's...
I mean, you can't go wrong with poop jokes.
It's wonderful.
Okay.
Well,
I might have to try it out then.
Also read The Last Founding Fathers. I now know that James Monroe is the only president to run for a second term unopposed. Oh, I read this little book about the Quran. We're not getting into a religious discussion, but I figured it would kind of help with the book. It was Christmas time, so Krampus the Yule Lord, which I thought was, well, it started off kind of dumb. The ending was kind of stupid, but it was nothing like I thought it was going to be.
Now, that's not a graphic novel, right?
I thought it was going to be, but it's not.
Oh.
He is an artist. Like, he does like artwork, and he did the cover and everything. And like, here's the characters.
Oh, wow.
But so I thought it was going to be a graphic novel, but it's not. It's a novel. Things have. I didn't expect certain turns, and it's surprisingly violent. Like, I don't know. I didn't like love it. It's not like my new Christmas classic favorite, but I didn't hate it. So I didn't quite finish this Kenyan review, but I had to bring it in because it has a story by Robert Coover. He's most known for The Babysitter, which was written, I think, in the late 60s or so. I could be wrong about that. But he's got a new story in this one. And you know something's off, but it's still like this sweet story. And then you get to the end and he just like drop kicks you. I don't know. I think Robert Coover's a little underrated. He's out there, but I enjoy him. But that is... Ooh,
Oh!
I have an idea. What?
We haven't introduced ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next month, we're going to be, as well as the book 5, The Outsider by Stephen King. I mean, yesterday was tornadoes, now it's snowing, and
Yeah.
it's Georgia. So